justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to the September 6, 2022 Board of Selectmen's meeting. Okay, before we begin, could we please have a moment of silence for all those affected by COVID, the wars, fires, and the floodings? Okay, thank you. Okay, on the agenda this evening, we have public service announcements. We have an executive session scheduled, a public hearing for the Thai Place for liquor transfer, also alteration of premise and a change in class from malt/wine to an all alcohol license, and a change of manager. We have a forest cutting plan and notice of intent. We have a continuation of a public hearing for Concord Brewery Incorporated doing business as Rapscallion. We have a continuation of a public hearing for transfer of Class 2 and Class 3 dealer's license from Kerboy Auto Inc. to Braca LLC/IAA Corp. We have Town Administrator's Update, Department Reports, Conservation Department, and we have several action items, possible action on a common victualler license for Whoopie Doo and Cupcakes 2, action to reappoint Roxy Smith and Edward Connolly to the Sturbridge Cultural Council, possible action to reappoint Brandon Goodwin to the Trails Committee, possible action on the selection of a Board of Selectmen representative to sit on the Housing Partnership Committee, possible action on the appointment of Wally Hersey and Kathy Neal to the Housing Partnership Committee, appointment of Caddy and Phillips, Robin Lucchesi, Jose Andrade, and Alan Menard to the Cable Advisory Committee, possible action on the reappointment of Dane Labonte and Sue Waters to the Planning Board, consideration and possible action on the reappointment of Marge Cooney for the Zoning Board for a term to expire September 6, 2025. Old business, new business, correspondence, approval of minutes, citizens forum, and then we shall adjourn. Okay, anyone have any public service announcements?
No.
Okay, I just have the one from Thomas Mapplebeck notifying the town that the Sturbridge Federated Church Pumpkin Patch will go on again this year, beginning September 24th through October 31st. Okay, so we'll hold off on the executive session.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a public hearing for the Thai Place. Mary, do you have the?
Yeah, I think it should be the next one. Notification is hereby given that an application has been filed by the Thai Place Restaurant for a liquor license transfer from Thong Ithavongasa, to Debbie Sundara, in approval of an alteration of its premises, a change in class from malt wine to an all-alcohol license, and to change the liquor license manager to Debbie Sundara for the premises located at 371 Main Street, Sturbridge, with the Sturbridge Board of Selectmen in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 138. A public hearing will be held on Tuesday, September 6th at 6:35 p.m. at the Center Office Building Meeting Room, 308 Main Street in Sturbridge, and it's dated August 11th, 2022.
Okay, and we do have a representative.
Yes, Madam Chair, what would you like me to?
If you sit, you'd probably be more comfortable.
Okay, yeah, making my debut here, so forgive me for not knowing the procedures, so.
That's okay, this is our first time in this room too, so, as you can probably tell.
Well, I'll tell you, it's an honor to be here. So I'm Attorney David Bartley. I mean, believe me, I'm a elected official too, so I can go on for days, but you tell me how you want, if you want me to set up what's happening here. I would like to, the first thing I want to do is give my, on behalf of my client, and it's really my fault. This is multiple times we've been here. This is basically my fault Though I will say, it was a little bit confusing. You'll see a letter, and I've been aided ably by the town administrator and administrative assistant. You'll notice a letter, an email, if you will, from legal from ABCC. It was relative to a DUA compliance letter, and in this case, we got it straightened out. But in the prior cases, because it was a corporate issue, it was on a corporate DUA certificate, and where the license holder was an individual, we got bounced back a couple times from ABCC. Make a long story slightly longer, we went to legal counsel and we got it straightened out. So that was a fly in the ointment the last time. So we're back again. Last time we were on Zoom, and now we're live in person. Madam Chair, your colleague set it up perfectly. What's happening in the place? The petitioner is looking to expand, alter the premises. The petitioner is changing the license, asking your consideration to change the license from beer wine to all alcohol. Would change a manager as well. Otherwise, there are no other changes. They've been operating a pretty good business with, to my best of my knowledge, no other issues for a number of years. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? No, we have, when we originally saw this, we had approved the expansion of the premise. So I don't believe anybody has any qualms about that. No other questions from the board? Comments?
No, I mean, that email cleared up the DUA.
Yeah, thank you.
Had no objection to it.
Yeah, that
so-
was, as I said, my
Yeah.
error.
Well, those things do happen. Okay, it is a public hearing. Does anybody in the public have any input, questions? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, now, let's give approval or disapproval
All right.
on each one. Yay. Alteration of premises. Approval or disapproval?
I move to approve the alteration of the premise.
Okay. That for Thai restaurant. I'll second it.
Yeah.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, the next one is changing class of license from malt/wine to an all-alcohol license.
I will make a motion to change the class from malt wine to an all-alcohol license for the Thai place at 371 Main Street.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, then the next one is change in manager to Debbie Sundara.
Okay. I make a motion to transfer the liquor license manager from Thong Invan Kasa to Debbie Sundara for Thai restaurant, a Thai place located at 371 Main.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Usually ask if she's certified.
Tip certified?
She's certified.
Yeah.
She is,
She is.
yes,
Yeah,
Ms.
I believe
Sundar
it
is
was
tip certified, yes.
Written down.
Place.
In there.
Yep.
Excellent.
Okay, so you're all set?
Thank you.
Safe travels,
Okay,
stay
thanks.
dry.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in again.
Where are you a public official, sir? Do you volunteer your time to town government?
Well, a little city out in western Mass called Holyoke. We can't get our act together, but we're trying.
Nice.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Okay. Okay, we also have the public hearing for wood harvesting. I forgot what it was. Do you have that one, Mary?
Somewhere. No, no, it's
Nah,
just that this isn't divided, you know. Thank you. We don't have any like little tabs that separate, so it's one big chunk of paper. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 132, Sections 40 through 46, The Board of Selectmen of the Town of Sturbridge will hold a public hearing on the petition of Craig Masterman, Yankee, Woodlands, for a forest cutting plan for 45 acres of land on 18 Ladd Road, Sturbridge, owned by Ann M. Dablovsky Trust. The hearing will be held on Tuesday, September 6, 6:35, Center Office Building, Meeting Room, 301 Main Street in Sturbridge, dated August 18th, 2022.
Okay, do we have,
Hi, I'm Craig, and
your last name, please?
Masterman, and I'm here on behalf of Ann Jablonski as her forester, and I'm here to answer any questions about the cutting plan. This is the second time we've thinned her property, the first time being in 2011, when she first came under Chapter 61, the land classification statute. This is kind of a follow-up to that. We worked the west side of the pond that's there on the last cut, and this time we're going to be working the east side of the pond. And so we're trying to get that underway as soon as we get the all clear from you folks.
Okay, and we do have the forest cutting plan certificate from the state, and we also have a letter from our Conservation Commission that says the SCC does not have any concerns with the forestry activities as proposed and as conditioned by the Department of Conservation and Recreation. At that meeting, the commissioners voted to recommend approval of the forest cutting plan to the Board of Selectmen. Okay, we also put our conditions on. I don't know if you've been before us.
It's been a while. I think there's been some changes. So,
Yeah.
I think
There-
2016 was maybe the last time I was here.
Oh, I think we've had them then. They're very benign. We
Yeah.
Mary remembers them exactly, the hours.
Well, I think we say, to coordinate with the bus route,
Times.
time-wise, sunrise and done by sunset, I
Yep.
think, is how we've worded it in the past, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Also, well, we have to post the bond.
Yeah. 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 That's, I guess you
financial.
determine that now. It used to be a fixed amount, and now it depends on the
Yeah,
situation.
right, DPW.
Yeah. I've had a conversation with Heather over at DPW too,
Okay.
and the foreman, so they're up to speed on the nature of the operation. We're going to do, there won't be any tree length skidding on the wood lot. It's going to be all done with a forwarder. So everything is cut to length at the stump and then loaded on a forwarder, which is like a skidder, rubber-tired vehicle. It'll just carry the logs right out to the landing.
I think we had some restrictions on the days of the week, though, too. Sundays? I
Yeah,
thought.
Sundays, major holidays.
Correct.
Yeah, I know that's in the bylaw.
Okay,
I've read
okay.
that. I've read that, yeah. And, yeah, and I guess it's dawn to dusk, except for Sundays, I guess, and
Correct.
major holidays, yeah.
Correct, so that's pretty much it. Did you have any issues with your last forest cutting on the property?
No, it went pretty smoothly, actually. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a public hearing. Anybody have any questions? Okay, motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
I had a quick question for Michelle.
Sure.
You going to bill me for the advertising and the, okay. I brought a check, just,
Good question.
okay, just bill me and I'll mail you the check. I mean, that's fine. All right, that's all I need.
I'll second the
We
motion.
can find you.
Discussion. All in favor? Okay, thank you.
I also want to add one comment as to how you've set the procedure up since the last time I was here. It is so much easier, and maybe that's because of Michelle, but used to be I'd have to do the advertising in the paper and notify the abutters, and I was about to do all that, and Michelle said, no, I'll take care of that, and I'll just bill you for the cost. And I said, okay then. So,
So that's good to hear, that's your
oh, no,
preference.
that's awesome. It saves me a whole lot of time, and my client really some extra time on my part. So, no, I appreciate the change in the procedure. It makes it go a lot more smoothly. So, just wanted to throw that out there.
Nice.
All right.
Thank you, have a good night.
Stay dry.
It's the hard trick, the parking.
Yeah.
Did we vote on the actual
We-
approved plan, or did we? We voted to
did.
close the
Oh, we,
hearing.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
we
but then
didn't,
you voted all in favor.
No, we
to
voted all in
close, but
favor
we
to
don't have,
close
a.
the
You don't
hearing.
have to stay, but we don't have a motion.
Oh, okay, I thought you had.
Approve
We didn't
it.
actually motion to approve it.
Oh, they stopped in the middle for the question, yeah.
Yeah.
But Jamie made the motion.
Oh, yeah, the motion was made, okay, just
Yeah,
never got voted on.
And Mary was about to second.
Okay, did you make it subject to the, I didn't know you.
Wait,
know
no,
you
I
didn't-
I
you
made a
didn't-
motion
you
to
didn't
close. I
at
didn't make a
all.
motion to approve the forest cutting
Oh,
plan. I will do so right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? I didn't. All right, move to approve the forest cutting plan and notice of intent as provided in the forest cutting plan for 45 acres of land on 18 Lad Road in Sturbridge, owned by the Dablovsky Trust,
With the,
with the restrictions of dusk to dawn and the bylaw restrictions of Sundays and no major holidays.
school bus hours
School bus hours.
and bond. Did you say bond?
I didn't say bond, no.
I'll second it, subject to all of the aforementioned conditions.
Aforementioned.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, 6:45, we're right on schedule.
Got this one.
This is a continuation of the public hearing for Concord Brewery Incorporated doing business as Rapscallion for change or alteration of premises. Information on the premises currently located at 484 Main Street, Sturbridge, formerly known as 3 Arnold Road, Sturbridge. Now, we don't have any more information on it. They are meeting with the planning board the 13th, so we will need to continue public hearing.
To the 19th? Or do you want to
Yes,
wait till?
I spoke to Jean, and she thought they would probably be
Okay.
settled on the 13th,
Okay.
so we could do it on
The 19th. Okay.
the 19th. Okay, somebody want to make a motion to that effect?
Certainly. I move to continue the public hearing regarding the application for change or alteration of premises at 484 Main Street from this evening to September 19th at 6:35 PM.
I'll second.
Discussion, all in favor? Okay. Like, yeah, it's 6:45. Likewise, this is a continuation of the Class 2 and Class 3 dealer's license from Kerboy Auto, Inc. to Braca LLC/IAA Corp. for 71 Mashpog Road, Sturbridge. Likewise, we have no more information. Does the conservation,
Have we heard from them?
No,
we haven't heard,
we met after the initial meeting with the attorney for the potential new client. They were going to try to get more information. We expressed a concern that we needed to get on the property, actually, currently, for conservation concerns. They were going to look into it, and we have not heard anything back.
well, I do, and I'm sure some people are here for the hearing. I do want to be fair to everyone, so we could continue this one more time, and then we can, if we don't hear anything, then we'll just,
That would be what I would recommend. I will try to reach out to the attorney for the potential buyer to see if they're still even active on this.
right.
I don't know if they're still even pursuing at this point, because we've heard nothing.
I agree with Mary, though. I will personally not be in favor of continuing it beyond one more.
Yep.
I think that's more than reasonable.
Okay, somebody want to make that motion then?
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for the transfer of a Class 2 and Class 3 dealer's license from Corboy Auto to Braca LLC for 71 Mashpog Road to the date of
September 19th,
September 19th
6:45.
at 6:45 PM.
Is there a second?
You know, honestly, I don't think I am going to. I think it's a little much that they've kind of not responded twice. You know? I don't mind when people
No, that's-
participate, but just ghosting us and then people have to come out.
Jamie, that's your prerogative, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
I'll second.
No, I know, I was very
I
torn
know,
too.
I was just thinking it through.
But
I'm
we also don't want to be in a position where they come after us for being, lack of good faith. So, one more time, 3 times you're out. 3 strikes, you're out.
Yeah, we did ask for a decent amount. We want them to clarify the lots. There were issues on which lot lines there
Concom wants to
were.
get
We
on the-
want to be sure Concom gets on the property. So we did ask for a lot. I just am a little concerned that we've heard
Nothing.
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 So,
We asked for all reasonable things,
yes,
though.
absolutely.
So I don't feel like we asked for that much, where they, one more month and that's it. Well, actually, 2 weeks, right?
Well, at least a
September 19th.
response, at least a response to say, we've got this part done, or we don't have that part done. We've got nothing at this
Right.
point. So until we hear something, to keep going is at
And
this
if
point.
maybe, Michelle, can the minutes reflect that, there was discussion about, at least personally, not supporting it for another continuation, like that noted in the minutes?
Okay, so I second it. Any other discussion? All in favor? 2 and 1 against. Okay. Okay, next we have town administrators update.
So very briefly, I got a call from or an email and a call from bye-bye, everybody, sorry. We received a call from the general manager of the public house, and there was concern about the state is potentially revoking the TIF for the public house because of lack of number of employees. As clearly was explained to me, and understandably, hiring is a challenge post-COVID, and so they were looking for a letter of support saying that the town supports the continuation of the tax incentive for the public house. I drafted a letter, which is in your packet, reflecting that the board did support that, provided you vote for that this evening. There is also a hearing that I can attend to show support for the public house on this. Public house is here to address any questions that you may have, but it's a pretty straightforward case of not being able to find staff right now.
Okay, Mike, I want to apologize. I told you I was going to bring it up under new business because I thought the agenda was closed, but our town administrator straightened me out. We can change it up till the last minute.
Perfect.
I mean, we've had people yell at us because we've
We
changed.
furiously typed a letter on Friday afternoon, Friday morning to get it out.
Yeah.
I'll start.
So, Mike, do you want to just give us a little,
Well, sure. Our incentive was to hire 10 employees when we completed Tiller House, and that opened in October of 18. And by 19, we'd hired 14 full-time employees, so we were in compliance. Of course, 2020 occurred. We closed for 90 days, lost the majority of our staff. And to this point, we have 20 vacant positions full-time, that if you brought people to me tomorrow, we would hire them. So it's not a situation of, not wanting to hire people, it's the lack of hiring. Just today received from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, the article that went out and it referenced hospitality industry is one of the hardest hit. I mean, obviously, all industries are suffering,
Yeah.
but hospitality is one of the strongest ones that are suffering. So, we're hoping the town supports us. It's not us not keeping our bargain. That building, from a room standpoint, the business is there. That building is doing more than we anticipated it would have done, back in 18, thankfully. But, our lack of staffing allows us to, if you go to our restaurant closes at 5 o'clock on Sundays. Our bar isn't open at night anymore. We still haven't served breakfast because we don't have any staff, to do those things. And those are the auxiliary jobs, that are keeping me under my, 100, or actually 97, I think is what the number is. And we had 104 in 19, but we're actually at like 75 of full-time employees. I have 150 employees in total right now, but the full-time is where the hardship comes for us.
okay, the town, I'm sure, I've heard from people, fully support you. The public house has fully supported the town in organizations through the years. And I personally feel that if our town administrator can avail herself and go to the hearing, it would even express our support strongly.
And I will
Mary?
echo our chair. I'm going to use a cliche. I think, kick them when they're down. I think it's totally unreasonable that the state would even question it at this point on the heels of COVID, and that's why people can't hire people, and that's why everything closed. And so, on one hand, we give out money to try to help hospitality get back on its feet, and then on the other hand, we take away, like, tax incentive financing geared towards enhancing the hospitality area. I'm just blown away, and I agree. And I don't know, I mean, personally, is it useful if we all sign on to this, or is it
Just the,
fine?
I'll
with
reflect the vote of the board. And
just the
that-
vote
yes.
and your signature? Sometimes if we all sign it, maybe it carries a little more, I don't know.
well, I
support
think you
or
would like
whatever.
the letter tonight.
Oh, the
We
letter
have-
tonight,
we
yeah,
have the letter.
I fully
Yeah.
support the letter, and I also
In it,
agree.
she says,
Right. And I just wanted to state that for the
Thank
record,
you.
because it's just really shocking to me.
ludicrous.
And I will express, in fact, if you would like by name, if you all want your by name, the support of each board member here this evening for
I
this.
can come back and get a letter tomorrow. I have to provide it to the state with our response by
Right,
by
right. This
tomorrow.
is-
Or I could come over and buy myself a carrot cake
There you
as an
go.
excuse and bring you the letter.
There's a sweet tooth, I can
I have a
attest to
total
that.
sweet tooth. This-
As do I.
She's
I thought
caught
you
me.
liked the sticky buns
I
the
like
most.
this. Oh, I do like those sticky buns. You haven't had them in a while, though, so maybe they don't have staff.
You're
to
short
do it.
staffed.
In defense of the state, I did talk to Todd Smola, our rep, and, he did, I guess, educate me, saying that, he believes that, this will be an approved scenario, but the state has to follow certain protocols.
Right.
And I understand that. There's certain protocols I
Fell
understand.
behind, below the 10.
Correct, we're behind the
And
10,
so-
for a valid reason, but they still have to,
Yeah.
cross their T's, dot their I's. I mean, so
But they
he
should
supports
also-
it as well.
Yeah, but they should also say, we understand.
You'd think.
And the state doesn't.
I assume-
You would think.
This is the
Is
frustration with
Todd
the money's being
also
poured
giving
out.
you some type of a letter?
Correct, he'll give a letter, he'll attend the meeting, whatever we want to do. So he's definitely supportive as well for us.
Okay, so do we have a motion then to support the letter?
Yes, I move to support the letter by Robin supporting the public house in continuation of their TIF
Thank you.
with the state. And again, I can't say anything better than the two of them did about all that.
Thank you.
And to have Robin attend the hearing
Oh, and
on
Robin
behalf
attend
of
the-
the board. I'll second that.
Discussion, all in favor? Okay, thank you for coming in,
Thank you very
Mike.
much.
Good
night.
luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Mike, you want to take it? Beautiful. Okay, that's it from me. That was an important one. I don't have anything
Wow.
else to say after that.
Was, it's okay. Okay, department reports, conservation. Rebecca, welcome.
So I submitted a report in advance, so I won't read it verbatim for you. I apologize because I forgot to include the chart initially, so I hope you get a copy of that afterwards. Oh, good. All right, so just kind of quickly to go through this, just last year we started doing this by fiscal year. Prior to that, it was the reporting with the application and permit numbers. We're always off a little bit based off when someone came in, so we really tried to change that so that way we could be looking at exactly per fiscal year. So we added that chart in there, which we updated for this past fiscal year for you. But just kind of going through for the past year, we've been really working internally in the office, really look at how we can update our processes, our applications, and some of our policies in an effort to streamline the process as much as we can for people. It's kind of challenging because we're working with the state act and we have the local bylaw. A lot of steps in different applications. It's not always straightforward for what people need to file. So we've really tried to work to kind of improve that, really kind of helping people, especially when they're trying to file applications on their own. One of the things we did is we created a tree removal policy. We did a lot of research on how other towns are handling this. A lot of times we get applications for removal of either dead, healthy, or hazardous trees. Now, under the state act, you're supposed to file a full application for every time something comes in like that. So for a long time now, the commission has had a process in place where you don't have to file that application. You can file a lesser application without a fee and go in front of the board at a meeting and go through that process. But it wasn't really clear on when and what you had to file. You know, the removal of a couple versus 30 really triggers different with the state. So to make sure we are staying in compliance with the state laws, our own bylaws, and creating a very clear process for people, we created this tree removal policy. So we implemented that at the beginning of the fiscal year, and we've had some great success with that so far. In addition, like I said, we've also updated all of our application packets, which has streamlined instructions for people so they understand what they're filing for and under which laws. We also updated this past year, you might remember we came to you, we updated all the filing fees for conservation. And these are just the filing fees under the local bylaw. We do receive a state fee, a portion of the state fee, half goes to us, half goes to DEP. But the commission had not updated their filing fees since 2004 when they were implemented. So we really went through, looked at other towns, kind of tried to spend some time looking at other towns with similar bylaws, similar demographics, et cetera, to try to, figure out which fees were best. So we've implemented that at the beginning of the fiscal year. And hopefully, for next fiscal year, we'll be able to let you know what the difference kind of are, what we're having for filing fees there. So it wasn't intent to charge more for these things, but really to assess a fee that was adequate for the services that we're providing in town here. We also changed the commission's meeting schedule. We went from a biweekly to an every 3-week schedule. This was something that we were seeing a good amount of other conservation commissions moving towards, and really looking at having adequate time in between our meetings for when people have to come back, when they need to address the commission's concerns. We have a policy where we need to have things in a week prior to the meeting, which we set a few years ago. We were having an issue where people were giving us things the day of the meeting, and when you're getting revised plans and narratives, it's very easy to miss things, and it's not really fair to staff or the board. So we've implemented this, which gives the applicant and their project team time to, address those concerns. Engineers, everybody's very busy, so it gives them a little bit more time to get that back to us. And ultimately, it's going to cut back and has been cutting back on the meeting times that we have. In addition to that, we started last year implementing what we call a detailed agenda, where we provide staff notes out in advance of the meeting. Not only is it for the board, but it's for the applicants and their teams, so they have a good idea of what staff have as potential concerns or maybe conditions for projects in advance, and helps kind of keep the conversation moving forward during the meeting. So happy about that. It's been helpful. So last year we reported that we expanded on our administrative approval process. It went back and looked at the percent increase. So this fiscal year, 81% of our wetland bylaw permits were approved administratively. So that's a lot less that goes on the commission's agenda, where people have to come into the meeting. We have the same protections in place that would be set by them. So that's been a real help for staff, the board, and the applicants. We've continued to hold the hybrid meetings. That's been seen favorably by the commission and applicants and representatives. People don't have to, send their engineer, across the state and sit at a meeting all night where they can come on. So that's been working for us so far. We also documented last year that for the past few years, despite the pandemic, we've been seeing an increase in permitting. The chart kind of shows that over the past 11 years, there's an increase. We have a few less permits this year than last year, but it's still that upward trend that we've been seeing throughout that.
Big upward trend.
Yeah. It was like almost 120% last year when we documented it.
Yeah.
So, and, we're going to continue with those charts yearly. I think it helps to see what's going on. The only hard part is that you don't really know when you look at this in the table that's in the report here, every project's different. So just because it's one orders of conditions, we have 35 this year, doesn't mean that it's, it could be a dock, it could be a shoreline wall, a raise and rebuild on a lake, a commercial development, a subdivision. It's hard to adequately say how much time goes into each one of those, but we have the table here. You can see that, we've got a big increase with our, like I said, with the percentage, with the wetland bylaw approval by the staff. But overall, with this table, which is different than the chart, we include the special event permits that we have for the conservation land. So it's outside of wetland permitting, our certificates of compliance. We had 33 last year, and that's a pretty big increase. And that's the hard part with the certificates of compliance, is that when they're done with our permits, these are the orders of conditions, they're supposed to come back. They have a lien on their deed, and they're supposed to come back and get that closed off of there. Well, it doesn't happen always, and part of it, we're not required to be a sign off on a certificate of occupancy. So when it's a new development, they might not come back, or they might not be able to close out their project that time. If they have wetland replication monitoring that they have to do, they might have to keep their permit open for some time. So we have a lot of blasts from the past that have come back, and that's why we're seeing these big numbers with all of the real estate transactions. The mortgage companies, one lawyer said they think they're doing a lot better job with their title searches. So we're seeing a lot of certificates of compliance requests coming in, which means when it's these older projects that, these are things that we have to go through the whole file, go through, do site inspections. Some of them we've had recently had restoration work they had to do that they weren't able to do. And they're always kind of last minute when they come in because people don't find out till a couple days before closing. So we try to do our best, and it's something that has to go in front of the board for approval. So we'll sometimes go out, have to do, staff will do a site inspection. If everything looks okay, we sometimes draft them a letter to help with their closing. And then, it goes on a meeting agenda for the board to go through. So we're seeing a lot more of those. I don't have the numbers for the past years on those. I'd like to do that when we have some time in the future. I think it would be helpful to see that. But, so we find that a lot of those old permits that never got closed out, some of those are where some of our enforcement and non-compliance issues come up too. We've had a lot over the past few years. Luckily, we've worked through a lot of those, but we do have those come up, and those are things that don't really get accounted for with time and effort that we have to work through those things. One actually, so for enforcement cases that we have, I had reported in the past, one of the big ones we had was on Cedar Lake with Mass DOT. We've actually pretty much ready to wrap that one up after 4 years. We've been working on that with Mass DOT, some significant drainage improvements along the turnpike there, which all lead to to Cedar Lake. So they've pretty much addressed those. We're kind of waiting to work to close that out. They'll be doing some as-built plans for us and recommending some operation and maintenance for Mass DOT. So happy to see that close out. We've only had one new enforcement case this year, and it actually was what the applicant's consultant called a friendly enforcement order. There was an expired permit on a property that required mitigation, restoration, cleaning, and some monitoring well removal, which hadn't got done. So their permit had expired. So instead of them having to go through the whole new application process, the commission did work with them to issue that, so that way they could immediately address those concerns. So it wasn't a negative in this sense. So happy to see that we've really had our real formal enforcement actions decline over the past couple of years. One of the things we've been doing is working on project compliance. That's one thing where staff, myself, is responsible throughout the life of a project to work with them and kind of check in and make sure they're staying on track. It is their job to do that, but, it doesn't always happen. So we've been trying to find ways to kind of make it more efficient for us, and we've actually been working with Ty and Bond and created an app it's called Survey 123 software, where we can go out and do project compliance monitoring, kind of streamline it instead of coming back in the office and downloading pictures from my cell phone and creating monitoring reports. We can do it all in one, so it's been really helpful there. And kind of skip through some of this. Except for outside of permitting, we've been working on some of the projects on our conservation lands. We finally finished our outbuilding removal project. That was a long one, very complicated, and it was 7 buildings on 3 different properties, all in the middle of the woods with asbestos and hard-to-reach areas, rare species. So we're very happy that one's done. That was a big project that we had going on. We continue to do small things like managing some of our habitats on some of our properties, Heinz Farm, kind of looking at for the future here, moving forward, some more opportunities that we can work on those things and some management plans. We had an intern this summer from UMass Amherst that worked with us. It was her first year with us. We're hopeful that she'll come back next year. She actually got to work on the lake monitoring project with one of our past interns. We haven't been able to do the Tantascwa internship program, but I'm hoping with the school year starting that we can find out if we can start that again. One year we had a student all year long for the whole school year until COVID hit. She come for a couple half-day sessions. So hopefully we can get that going again too. We've been working on assisting with the implementation of the South Pond 319 grant. We're actually currently right now waiting to get that back from DEP. Hopefully we'll have that back soon. And then they can get started kind of working on, they need to start doing some sampling so they can put together, there'll be multiple notice of intents that have to go out for the alum treatment for that. So I'm working on that. And, you know, some things we continue to do, we have, you know, we started a hike and seek a few years ago. We'll be offering that again this fall, getting kids out there and looking for, you know, different things in nature or historical things on the properties. And so we're looking forward to doing that again. Earth Day cleanup continues, and we do the winter tree scavenger hunt. One of the other things looking forward to doing is we had WPI students work on a project, you know, documenting the history of the Hines Farm and Lead Mine Mountain Conservation Area, as well as documenting flora and fauna and ecology with the intent of doing interpretive signs. So we're hoping that we can take that information and kind of move that project forward soon, maybe find a firm that can help finish that off for us. So, and I think that kind of covers everything in there. Anybody have any questions or comments?
No, it's certainly a lot. Of course, when I first picked it up, I said, there's a lot. I thought it was since your last time in, till I read the top line and it said fiscal year report. No, very good,
detailed.
Rebecca. Any questions from the board?
I just had
Mary?
no question, well, just a couple of comments. Did you get any pushback moving to 3 weeks from applicants, or were they also in favor of having a longer period of time?
I think when people are in a rush, you know, they enjoyed the 2-week schedule, but it really wasn't productive.
Yeah.
You know, most of the times people can't get things turned around and back here in time with, you know, working with wetland scientists and an engineer. So I think people,
We're understanding of that.
yeah. But right, when someone wants to have something approved yesterday, it's hard, you know, but.
And I just wanted to say, I know you said staff assisted with the implementation of the Grand Trunk Trail project, which is currently wrapping out.
Yes.
Outstanding job.
That's
I
nice,
mean,
huh?
it's absolutely beautiful. I've been on it several times now.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about ticks. I love to hike, but I always worry about ticks. And it's so wide now, you know, it's just really nice. There's no grass in between where you know, have to keep checking your ankles and just,
Oh, a dry season for ticks.
yeah, but I mean, I
Yeah.
dogs.
Oh, no, they,
Yeah, I mean,
They're
and
there.
They're there. Did any of our lakes have to close this summer for bacteria?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
Or
no,
not
I
that I
didn't
was
think
made
so.
aware of. I don't think so.
no, because
Yeah.
usually
Yeah, that's,
the rec area would post if
right.
they
Yeah.
did.
I wasn't aware of it, but I was just curious.
Yeah.
Because I know some Rhode Island beaches had closed because of bacteria, and I was like, I wonder if any of our ponds closed, but no.
Yeah, no.
Nice. All good stuff.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too, Rebecca.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have consideration and possible action on a common victualler license for Whoop-de-Doo and Cupcakes 2.
Another new haunt, another place I've discovered.
Wow.
Yeah, my sweet tooth is really achy.
I'm right there with you.
I had a sweet roll from you guys last week.
I'm right
Gonna
there
gain
with you.
20
last
pounds in her
Thursday.
fridge.
Oh, God, they're killing me.
outside dancing the cupcake?
I did not have the dancing.
My boyfriend's the
That's dedication.
cupcake
That is dedication.
Your small cakes are gorgeous.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, they're
That's
very
our cake
pretty.
decorator, Carrie Nault. She does a fantastic job. I
Yeah,
love her.
very
great stuff in there.
glamorous.
Yeah, great stuff.
Okay, Carrie, for the people at home, do you want to just give a short synopsis of?
So I just recently purchased Whoopie-Doo and Cupcakes too. We kind of offer cupcakes, pastries, whoopie pies, cookies, cakes, kind of, and then soft serve stuff as well. We do like sundaes and milkshakes and anything you kind of want to have with that. I think for future, I'm probably planning on trying to add some bread once I get that sort of trial runs on my end to make sure that my product comes out nice every time. And then I may adjust her hours a little bit. I may open up a little earlier during the week for, you know, people trying to go to work and stuff that try to catch that morning crowd a little bit. But by and large, I'm gonna keep her products the same I'm keeping all her recipes, everything like that. I'm just adding different flavors and stuff like that. That's about it.
Sounds good. Questions from the board? Someone want to make a motion then to approve? Can't imagine anyone would disapprove.
Turn down the dessert.
Always the,
Well, you'd be surprised. And now
I might have to retake this down if you're going to turn
always
this
an
down.
option.
you know we're gonna lose Robin if we do it. I move to approve the common victular license for What We Do in Cupcakes 2 LLC with Carrie Nadelman as owner.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Good luck to
Okay,
you.
good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Get to work.
Yeah, I gotta go back.
Those morning hours,
Yeah.
and a pot of coffee on with it.
It might just be me working it, but I'll get it.
That's okay.
Okay, have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
It's probably stopped raining.
Yeah, I hope so.
No. Okay, next, possible action to reappoint Roxy and Smith and Edward Connolly to the Sturbridge Cultural Council for a term to expire September 6, 2020. Robin, I know I've brought this up before, but we're getting now into where we're spreading out all our reappointments. And it was never intended that way. Plus, all these, were they advertised? Because I know some selectmen had concerns.
The housing partnership definitely was.
Yes.
But you know what?
So,
Yes, some were.
so some of the reappointments are coming in from the boards, and that's where the concern is, because we had talked about the fact that they all should be advertised, even if we were going to give preference to reappointments, certainly. So I don't know if all of the reappointments were advertised, because I think some of the boards actually went to you to have these put on the agenda. So, like planning, for instance, came in today.
Well, yeah, I know, because planning had a problem.
Yeah, and there were quorum concerns. My concern with, we really wanted to get these all in a July 1 cycle.
Yeah.
The problem is the bylaw doesn't allow it. We really have to change the bylaw. And it may be something we do for the warrant.
Well, we can do that easily.
Because
We've changed bylaws
Yeah,
before.
the bylaw is
I haven't
term
read-
from that date. It doesn't allow me to fill out a term until July, I'd have to appoint someone now until July 1st and then reappoint them, but there's no latitude in the bylaw for that.
Yeah. But even if you reappointed now, it could go till
It,
June 30th of,
except it says I have to appoint for the term. It doesn't give the latitude unless I'm filling someone's seat. I can do it if I'm
Yeah.
filling a vacancy.
yeah, I just have.
But it's just crazy not to have these all expire on June 30th and just
Right.
reappoint
And
them all in a
that's-
bunch.
That's why we
Pretty
moved
easy to change
all
the
way.
word.
That should
Oh,
be
in the
easy enough.
bylaw,
So I can
yeah.
put something on the warrant for a bylaw change on
But
that.
maybe, like, board should be told, very nicely in some kind of memo that goes to all of them, that those are recommendations from the boards to reappoint those, but that we will advertise the positions.
Yeah, but the boards don't recommend.
No, I
in a
know,
lot of
but
these
they're,
cases.
They
I
sort
get
of
it, but
are,
they're putting
yes.
forward who,
It should go to the committees to let the people know that reappointment's coming up.
Yes.
And send a letter if you want it, and it should be advertised at the same time. We need to give people time, because I know, perfect example is ZBA.
Mm-hmm.
I know people are interested in that. So to just,
And I never heard anything about that reappointment. It literally ended up on the
Yeah.
agenda.
no,
Yeah.
I know.
but I mean, and also to let them know your term's up, please give a letter
Yeah.
of interest that you want to be reappointed.
Yeah.
Some kind of generic letter,
And
which I think they
so-
get already,
yeah.
don't they?
Well, Sheila has just
We were working on it a
updated.
little bit, and I was out, so Sheila took it over.
Yeah.
And they've been working on elections, so we haven't.
Because that puts the
Sheila is
onus on
trying- yeah,
them to
Sheila
say.
is trying to update that software that we have.
Right.
Yeah, but
And then we
it's-
need something to automatically go out
gotta
and
be
say,
straightened
please
out."
submit a letter. And even now, if some, for reappointment, I should be getting something that says, please reconsider me. for
That's what I'm saying. We should
reappointment.
invite them to
Yeah.
ask for reappointment.
Because I know on my reappointment, on the personnel, and I know
Mm-hmm.
other people, well, my husband, for example, on his committees,
Yep.
he's always gotten a letter saying, your reappointment's up, let
Yeah,
us know.
it
So
seems to
it's-
be chaotic
And I don't know what happened to it, because it wasn't.
Once
Yeah.
election's over, I'll get with Sheila,
Yeah.
because I was out,
Yeah.
and they started working on elections, so it's been hard to get
Yeah,
together.
I mean, it's no one personally responsible. It just kind of,
No, it's just
Blew
not
up.
in hand. Yes.
And then kind of what goes a little bit hand in hand with this, and it came up at the SEC, because one of the members' husbands is on conservation now, and he's not listed. If we can make sure our website
That
is
is being, yeah.
updated.
Okay. That
Because
is
they,
being
I mean,
updated,
I
yeah.
went to the homepage, government meetings, and I saw his name, for example, just an example. But then they pointed me towards the bottom, there's another list of committees, another icon that you can click on, and the two don't,
Okay.
one's updated and one's not. Let's see if I can.
no, it's that way because I was on the feasibility study for 5 years or more for the senior center, but I was never listed.
Mary, you're talking about where it says boards and committees on the side?
Okay, yes, he is. I always go to here, click for the menu, government, and that. But I guess if you go to
what
boards and
should be
committees
accurate.
down here,
Yeah.
that's not
Up to
updated.
date.
That has something to do with, I can't think of the program that the clerk uses, but that's what updates it, the thing that Sheila's working on now.
I'm just saying, there are two different places
Whatever's
that,
on Onboard.
It's got to be,
there's two different places where you can find out who's a committee member, and
Yeah,
they
the
don't-
Onboard's not,
they're not
Correct.
consistent.
I just want a list of every committee and who's expiring. I just want a list, so I know who's expiring.
I'll
And we're having, but it's been, yeah, they've been trying, they really have,
the
but,
first step used to be easily done by looking at the annual report.
Yeah.
Because appointments in that lists the year.
and it would be.
And there were a few slip-ups sometimes.
And I think because there's been a lot of people who leave, and then there are continuations of terms until the end of so-and-so's term, and so it got more and more chaotic.
Yeah.
But yes, we will get on
We'll
this.
straighten it out.
Yes.
Okay, so do we have a motion then to reappoint Roxy Ann Smith and Edward Connolly to the Sturbridge Cultural Council for a term to expire September 6, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Next one is to reappoint Brandon Goodwin to the Trails Committee for a term to expire September 6, 2025.
I'll move to reappoint Brandon.
See, and Trails sent me
Yeah.
Brandon sent me a, request to be reconsidered. So some boards and commissions are.
Yeah, it's just not
and some aren't.
uniform.
Exactly.
I'll second it.
Yeah, I can second it. It's
I'm
not like
sorry.
he's getting any money out of it.
I beat you to it.
Yeah, it's only,
It's just costing him time.
yeah. It's him,
Discussion,
he's not making anything.
all in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, next, do we want to hold on this until we have a full board in case we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no rush because we're still doing the feasibility, the RFP for the consultant and whatnot, so there's time on that.
Right, okay. And this one is possible action on, the appointment of Wally Hersey and Kathy Neal to the Housing
So
Partnership
these were
Committee.
sent as a result of my sending them
Yeah,
an
they
email asking
recommended.
for a recommendation.
Yeah, Wally from the Planning Board and Kathy from the FinCom. So do we have a motion on those two?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
I will be sending 3 at-large candidates hopefully by the next meeting for that
Yeah,
as
that
well.
was
And then we'll have
advertised.
that, yeah, that was put out in November, before that even
Yes.
got passed, actually, so,
Gotten,
yes, I have interest. Yep.
because I know there were a few people who spoke to me
Yes.
about it. Okay, consideration and action on appointment of Caddy and Phillips, Robin Lucchesi, Jose Andrade, and Alan Menard to the Cable Advisory Committee.
So these were sent out, letters were sent to those who were on to see if they wanted to stay on, and then we had new interest. Jose?
Yes.
Okay, we've conversed, and I wasn't sure I could put a face with a name, but I saw the Google thing, and I thought, I know you're an IT guy. So I saw an IT guy here. So we had advertised, we asked, and Mr. Andrade had expressed interest in joining a different committee, I think the tourism originally, and those positions had been filled, and then said he would like to serve the town in some capacity. He has an IT background, which I think makes him a good person for our cable advisory.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Because, I'll tell you, a lot of people aren't really aware of our agreement with Spectrum and what it entails.
It can be complicated, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's cable, it's not internet,
Right.
it's cable.
So,
But honestly, our bargaining power is so poor that if you can try to, push that a little bit more,
Well,
that would be good.
I'll tell you, we were fortunate that a representative from Spectrum did come in to speak to us. Other communities have not had as much luck.
No,
I mean,
no, it's been very challenging.
they're the boss. So someone want to make a motion on those?
Yeah, I will move to appoint Katie and Phillips, Robin Lucchesi, Jose Andrade, and Alan Menard to the Cable Advisory Committee for a term to expire on September 6, 2025.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robin.
Oh, nice to
Oh,
meet you.
okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I look at the menu. I haven't eaten yet. I look at the agenda and I always try to figure why people are here. That one I didn't get.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
No, I mean,
Thank
it's
you
res-
for
Volunteers.
volunteering.
Appreciate it.
Because we get a lot of complaints for our charter spectrum,
Yep.
yes. So
Just like-
if you can, do anything to the contract to, enhance the rights of the,
Yeah, that's,
viewers.
that's why I contacted you, because I had complaints to them too, and they just,
Yes. Yeah.
what do you, they're just like, oh, well, that's the way it is. I'm like, well,
It doesn't have to be, though. Exactly.
Do we have a full board now?
One, two, three, yep, it was all five then.
That should be five
That's
now.
good, so,
Yeah, it was down to, we didn't have anybody at this,
Yeah.
at one point, and so that's been a board that's sort of been established.
Yeah,
that's,
thank you both
okay,
for-
so, yes. Okay, so we can get them moving.
Yep.
I'll send an email out.
Yeah.
The good news is the market is changing. Spectrum has more competition. There's a lot newer wireless technologies that they're going to have to deal with. So I think we do have some things that we can say to them.
Oh, we have a little leverage.
Competition's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both again. Okay, next, action on the reappointment of Dane Labonte and Sue Waters to the Planning Board for a term to expire September 6, 2027.
I make a motion to reappoint Dane Labonte and Sue Waters to the Planning Board for a term to expire September 6, 2027.
Second.
Yeah, because that is a 5-year appointment.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, possible action on the reappointment of Marge Cooney to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term to expire September 6, 2025.
I will move to reappoint my friend Marge to the zoning board for a term to expire September 6, 2025.
I'd be impressed if you said my enemy.
That's big.
I don't think that would go over well.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Older business. Mary.
Do we have a retreat date? Or are we working on one? Remember, we wanted to meet in the fall. So I'm just
Yeah.
putting it out there again.
That's right, it's September already.
Yeah, maybe one Saturday in October or something.
I'm good every Saturday except, I believe, the first Saturday of October, but I can do the second Saturday of October, or the third.
I think we're going to have to wait to see what happens.
Maybe see what the other two gentlemen
I
can
mean, maybe
do.
we can just shoot them an email and see,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
decide on a date at our next meeting.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
I don't have any other
Okay, anything else?
old, no.
No, and I have no old, new. Jamie?
Nothing.
Mary?
I just have one, it's somewhat new, and I already met with Robin about it. It's somewhat new, well, it's like a new old thing. So Special Events Committee would like, what's been happening is that there was a seat for somebody on Recreation, and we're not able to fill that. I know, Robin, I was going to ask, did anybody from Recreation want it?
No, nobody from Recreation does, so I guess the question is, because that's comprised by the town administrator, I guess, that group.
Right.
Would I make a recommendation to you all to make it another at-large member? And
And
replace the
the
Recreation with
And
an
the
at-large member?
SEC members support that. Because what's been happening is Mary Lou Volpe was the rep, but she could only come on Wednesdays. And so just that one day of the week, we usually meet on a Monday or a Tuesday. So she hasn't gone a long time, and somebody else was out, with surgery, and sometimes it's difficult to have a quorum. So special events just met, and they were supportive of changing that to a resident at large.
Right, because it is a town administrator's.
Yeah, it was a town
committee.
Right.
administrator-created committee, so as long as the selectmen are supportive of that, I'm happy to appoint someone at large.
No problem, Jamie.
No, I have no
Okay.
objection to that.
All right, that's it.
Okay, and I have no new, so we have
Correspondence.
minutes.
No correspondence?
The correspondence you received last month regarding the farmer's market incident, I have spoken with the attorney that sent the letter, and all is resolved right now.
Okay, nice.
That's good.
Yes.
Okay, so we have the minutes of February 7th. Now, Michelle.
Yes. Where do I need a comma?
No, capital letters. I know, I apologize.
No,
I
I don't
hadn't.
mind.
Well, I hadn't read the minutes until today. I read the rest of the packet when I picked it up. But on page 177, right in the middle, little paragraph that begins Robert Reed. That last line says, found an interim plumbing and gas inspector. There should be a period there, and then a capital letter on his. And then on page 178, the next to last motion should read to approve and authorize. Page 179.
Yes.
The first motion should say to authorize the chair to execute. And then the first lightly colored paragraph, it begins chair. 3/4 of the way, after committee, there should be a period.
Organize a building committee, period.
Yeah, and then a capital I. And then, fourth paragraph up, 2 lines where it mentions Robin C's name. You don't need a comma. And then that line underneath, you don't need the word that.
That still has to be from Brookfield Road.
Yeah. So it just needs to read, still has to be determined. And then that paragraph, underneath that, the second line, we don't need the sentence that begins, Mr. Reed told the board he was sure if town needed to go through the process again.
Okay.
Doesn't make sense. He asked us if we did, so you can delete that sentence. Then the last paragraph, the first line, where it says property should be, is in a horrible, dangerous state.
Okay.
Period. Capital T. And last line, meeting should have a capital M, town meeting. And lastly, on page 182, see this, it's the last page. The motion there on the vote, we usually designate who voted against it.
Oh, okay.
3-2, for the record, it should state, who voted for and who voted against.
Okay.
Okay, and that's all I have.
That's it? Yeah. Well, I move to approve them without Mary's edits. I'm just kidding. Mary, do you have anything else?
Are we still on the February 7th?
Yes.
Okay. I just had, hold on. Extend the mass mandate. Where was I? Oh, I mean, if this was the wording that he used, then leave it alone. But on page 180, to accept the donation from the Special Events Committee in the amount of $6,063 to help fund Sturbridge veterans. I think it's to provide funding for Sturbridge veterans and their families. I don't know about funding them. Is that how Ian said
I'd
it?
have to listen to it.
Oh, well, you don't, I mean, I think it, I don't think you fund the vets. I think I would put, I think it just sounds very awkward.
What did it say?
Well, you have to
We have to see what he said.
All right, well, just, you know what, I don't want you to have to go back and read it. That, it's fine.
Specifically.
If that's how he said it, then I would leave it. Okay. And then I would just say, I know they're little tiny semantics, but on page 182, under new business, Vice Chair Dowling would like to have the retreat before the new town administrator, period, or semicolon. And then she feels, a new sentence, she feels it is good for the board to discuss what their priorities are, rather than that their priorities are for a new town administrator. So change the that to what. And it was a run-on sentences, either put a period or a semicolon.
Okay.
Which page was that, Mary?
Page 182, under new business. And then what is the new letter from the dirt?
That's the garden.
It's a-
We get, they were giving us monthly letters.
Right.
That's
Oh,
the
okay, we
name of
don't, yeah, no, I know, we don't put more than that, just that. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so, Jamie, you have a motion to
Yeah, to
approve as
approve,
amended?
approve the minutes as amended.
Mary,
Second.
discussion, all in favor? Okay, now, July 18th we'll have to hold, because there were only three of us there, and
Yep.
it's only one of us here.
Yep.
Okay, August 1st.
Done.
Michelle, on page 190, under public service announcements, should say residents. And then on page 193, the motion should say to approve down at the bottom.
Oh, approval.
Well, half the time I'm sure this is spell check on the computer. Okay, that's all I have.
Yep. And I would just have, on page 191, just, it's a typo, midway through, Selectman Dunning, Selectman Dunnigan.
Oh.
Reminded residents. See it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
A second, discussion,
Second. Oh, did you second it? Okay.
all in favor? Okay, then we have August 15th. Michelle, down at the bottom, it should read $14,000 instead of just 14,000,
On page 195?
198.
Oh, 198, sorry. Oh, okay. $14,000, okay.
Okay, anyone have anything else?
I do. When we have the public hearing on the tax rate.
Which page?
Well, it doesn't matter where she puts it. I guess on page 195, allocating the local property tax levy amount, the classes of real property and personal property allocating the local property tax levy amount, the classes, that's got to be cleaned up. But
Pretty sure that's how they had it listed on the agenda, but I'd have to double check.
okay, add a sentence that the Board of Assessors unanimously, add a sentence that these are consistent with the Board of Assessors recommendations.
Okay.
We asked Ann,
Yeah.
they said that these are recommendations coming from the Board of Assessors. Something like that should be noted in the,
And they responded that it was unanimously supported.
correct, and so that should be there. Okay. It might flow very nicely on page 196. Ann Murphy gave a detailed breakdown of the PowerPoint presentation. Ms. Murphy noted that it was unanimously, these are the recommendations, something like that.
Anything else, Mary?
No.
Okay, is there a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Second, discussion, all in favor?
Mary, who seconded that one? You were?
I second. Yep. Okay, then we have the minutes of August 22nd. There were 3 of us there, 2 of us are here, so that's the majority of the 3, so we can vote on them. Did you have any corrections, Jamie?
Nope, looked good to me.
I have none, so Jamie,
I move to approve them as written.
second, discussion, all in favor?
Oh, no,
And one abstention.
I'm abstaining.
Okay, public access.
Lee?
Someday, somebody's going to surprise us.
Do you want to do a quick executive session?
Yes.
If you're all willing to stay
Yeah,
for a few
it's-
minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we have the
I do. I will make a motion to move into executive session per Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21, subparagraph 2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining agreement, to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares.
so declared.
So I made the motion.
I think I would make it with a motion to not re-adjourn in open
Oh,
session.
yes, and not to reconvene in open session.
Second.
Okay, Mary, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Oh, I apologize. I thought you had these early, but
No.
cable's still on?